it up for us.
I love it.
Well, you could turn them like that. Like you could turn them in 2 seconds.
Oh,
You know? He's
easily.
like, Laura, are you for real? I'm like, I am. Okay, what do you need, Laura? Like
Yeah.
you could turn them like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, well, it's great that all of you had an opportunity to be here and introduce yourselves. I realize it's been a challenging and difficult couple of months for the Lawley family, and that you miss Dave dearly. We do too. Dave was such a important part of this office. When you think about it, and I know we're talking a lot of tenure here. He was the backbone behind this office and building this office from the ground floor. I know we've talked about how influential he was. And when I think about Dave, and after he passed, there's one word, or maybe two words that come to mind as I walk the floor. And I know things have changed since COVID, and we don't have the vibrant office that we used to have, but I would categorize it as an empty feeling. Okay, as I walk through the office, there's an empty feeling that I have, and I really appreciated Dave because as you're going about your business and going from one meeting to the next, or making a run to the restroom or to the break room. I would always hear Dave when I run into him right behind me. Hey, Mr. O'Brien, how's it going? Okay, and we would always, connect. And he, back in, when I started in '99, he liked me from day one, and I liked him. Maybe it's two Irish guys, with stuff in common. He liked sports, I like sports, but he would always fill me in on what was happening within the office. And I know I was talking with Mike earlier today that I knew about our executive visits from some of our senior leaders before anybody else did. Because they would tell me. and that he would really fill me in on everything.
Gotta get the office in shape.
Exactly. But what I liked most about his passion for our employees was second to none. It really was incredible. And it was one area that I did not have to worry about because I knew that they took care of things. And he was so well liked by the employees and such an important part of the fabric of our office. And each and every day, he just meant so much. So earlier this week, I had a chance to reflect, and I wrote a few comments that I wanted to share with everyone. Okay? It's called Thank You, Dave. Okay? No crying. Okay? Thank you, Dave, for your 35 years of loyal and dedicated service to United Healthcare, Oxford Health Plans, and our UHG real estate partners. As one of the first hires in the Oxford organization, you were so proud of this accomplishment. He was top 10, okay, in terms of hires in this company. Thank you, Dave, for being the pioneer behind our Hooksett office. You launched this office in 1997 and for 25 years treated it like your own home. Thank you, Dave, for always taking the employee-first approach in everything you did for us each day. Thank you, Dave, for being the Mr. Fix-It of our office. Whenever we had an issue, you resolved it with urgency. Thank you, Dave, for making us safe and secure each day. We knew you always had our backs. Thank you, Dave, for leading us through these times when we had power outages at the site. When you think about it, we never missed a beat. Having a backup generator that was always in working order was a top priority for you. As a lifelong operator, we thank you big time for that. Thank you, Dave, for the generous office you gave me on the first floor. All my colleagues visiting us here were so jealous. I didn't deserve it, but he did it for me, okay? Thank you, Dave, for your leadership in coordinating the renovations on the second floor that we're on now. You were so proud of the outcome It really looks unbelievable. It's great, right? Incredible. Thank you, Dave, for just being Dave. Guy from Philly, our friend and colleague. Our office has not been the same without you. We miss you so. As Mr. Santoro said, that's my story, I'm sticking to it. Leanne.
So I have a story. I started the site mayor program when it began 5 or 6 years ago. So Dave and I didn't really know what we were doing. He was new to it, I was new to it. And he was grumpy, boy was he grumpy, because now he had new PowerPoints he had to do, and all that technology stuff. He's like, come on, we have to fill this out together, so can you help me? So I didn't really know how to handle him, honestly. And we were back and forth, and we were kind of bickering a little bit. He's like, you need to figure this out, and tell your people to stop coming to me about the mice, and they just have to stop eating at their desk, and he'd yell at me and tell me to yell at my people, and finally one day I was like, I gotta give this guy some business, gotta get back to him. So he came at me with something, I go, shut your Philly hoagie eating mouth. And he laughed and goes, I like you. We were fast friends after that. It was awesome. And I didn't know that's what it took. I had to bully him back a little bit. Then we became buds, and he knew this building inside and out. So we had to work closely together, because when anyone said a complaint or something was wrong, it came to both of us. Either the site mayor or the facilities was a ticket. So, people flushing diapers. I mean, things you wouldn't even imagine was really going on in this building. So we'd have to talk about it and figure it out, and he would teach me things. So he'd say, all right, in the morning I open the dampers, I get the fresh air in, this is how we cool the building down, this is how it works, blah, blah, blah. So when things would come up, I'd start kind of showing my knowledge back to him, and I was like, hey Dave, did you open the dampers? He's like, that girl, you're learning how this building works. He's like so proud of me that I was like his apprentice in a way, and we got along wonderful. I really adored him, and the same sentiments. He would stop by my office or give me shit when I wasn't here because he wanted me to be here so we could talk, and he talked all about all of you. I feel like I've known all of you, Dee, and all 3 of you kids, and when he worried about you, when he loved you, when you get married, all that stuff, he talked, and he was just so happy. He was such a family man. Smoked like a chimney. Smoked like a chimney. You could see him out back, and he barely opened the they were like, there he is, hot boxing in the back on a UPS driveway. But he loved it, and he loved traveling, and he loved this job, and he loved the people, and you could say he was grouchy, but if you knew him and you ever knew the underneath, all you did was have to scratch that surface, and his heart was huge. And I was proud to make him proud of me. It was a great relationship. I wanted him to enjoy being together, and I really loved him. He was my buddy. That's the best way I can talk about your dad and Dave. He was my buddy, and I'll miss him terribly. You should be very proud of the father that you had.
Thank
You. There is a Stephen Anthony. You know Stephen? I do know Steve. Okay, one of our legacy Oxford employees. Wanted to be here. Felt terrible about not being here, but his wife had come down with a bad cold, cough, fever, and certainly it's probably not a good idea for him to come here, right? But he did want me to share some of his comments with everyone. What I was going to talk about is how I'm going to miss him, bragging about how many days until his next visit to Disney, and sharing all the changes and improvements that are going on down there, and how much he loved relaxing in Vero Beach. He was the definition of transparency and shared all the details of what was going on related to the building. He was so passionate about his work and took it so seriously and dedicated himself to serving others and ensuring the employees had the best possible work environment. Like those times when it was 80 degrees and getting the contractors into the office as quickly as possible to get the HVAC system fixed. There is now a void that will never be filled as I walk through the office. He will forever be missed. So Stephen Anthony is one of our leaders in the Hooksett office.
He never ages, too. There's something.
That's right.
He looks the same
So
than when he was in training all those years ago. That's when I met Steve Anthony. It's been a long time. So.
And speaking of Stephen, when we had this floor reconfigured and redone, the first day they had a number of facilities guys walking around the floor checking on things. And I was on a conference call in my office, and there's one guy out, you know, we have sliding doors. He's out tinkering with my door, okay? And I could see he was trying to do something with the lock, you know? So it's about like 5:45. It's like, you know, I gotta go meet my old boss, Dan Dragon, you remember him, from New York Life, Malcare, for dinner for Tellos. And I tried to pull it up. I came out of the office, okay? It's the first day in my new office, and I'm locked in. It's like,
all glass, you can see how
right?
I'm going.
what the hell do I do? You know? Fortunately, Stephen Anthony was around, and you know, we got him. But we had security down, and they called Dave. Okay, and Dave was like, I will be there. You know, I'll get him out. But fortunately, Stephen had figured out to jury rig the door. And ended up getting me out like a half hour later. The type of guy Dave was. He goes, I'm gonna go to the office, I'm gonna handle it myself. And that's the beauty about what he did. He hated spreadsheets, okay? And I know as we outsource to some other companies, there's conference calls, meetings, spreadsheets, and he just wanted to fix things himself, okay? Because that's who he was, and he was the hands-on guy. You know, certainly will be missed. So I'll turn it over to my real estate colleagues now.
I you know, shared a lot of my reflections. I mean, I remember when I came here before the renovation, and he was just super proud of this site. And he was a little bit nervous when we were meeting, and he was going through and talking about his history and talking about the history of Oxford. And we were starting to walk the floor, and it was first thing in the morning, and all of a sudden power goes out. And then the generator didn't kick on the way it was supposed to kick on. He was so upset. It was like, you know, his baby was not acting the way it was supposed to. But just an example of just the pride that he took in what he did. Just, you know, top shelf. I've never met an FM who took it as personally as he did, and the people who were in the site. So very, very impressive.
Matt?
Honestly, from the JLL team, you know, we're just grateful UHG's, you know, dedicating this conference room to Dave and his memory, and he meant a lot to all of us. There's actually a ton of people on the
That's awesome.
WebEx, which I had only invited 3, so it clearly got spread out from there.
That's
so.
awesome.
Yeah, but we wanted to thank everyone and, you know, give our condolences.
Well, we want to thank you for being as kind and generous and supportive to us as you have been. Leslie had come up with an idea to have trees planted in his memory, and that blossomed to 76. So he's got a grove in the White Mountain National Forest dedicated to him. And that has a lot to do with colleagues and friends that came out of the woodwork from Oxford all the way back that did that. He's the only guy I know. So for every Oxford dollar that was generated, he's paid it back. That was a big deal back in the day. We would have you remember the Oxford dollars? We would have the 100,000 member parties, and Bob would get up with that bingo thing with all the Oxford dollars, and he would pull names out, and it was always Dave's name that came out of it. He's like, please, not Dave again, and he would reach in, and it was Dave's name again. So he got every prize there ever was. He lobbied and campaigned all the way through, just so that when we got to that 100,000 member party or whatever party, he'd be the guy that was taking home all the prizes. It was like that thing. That was Dave. Yeah, absolutely.
I still have the keychain thing that they gave out 100,000 members. It's in my bag upstairs.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
That's incredible.
Remember how hot it was?
it was extremely hot
We
there.
had a cake party in the garage.
That was good.
There were a lot of cake parties back then.
There were.
Yeah,
There were.
Those were the days. So we felt it was important to keep Dave's legacy alive here, which is why we had, a few of us had gotten together to talk about, well, what should we do? And being that this is the marquee conference room in our office, we felt it was appropriate to rename it after Dave, okay? Knowing that Dave is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, okay, the name of this room has been the Patriots room. Okay? Since its inception. Okay? So we're gonna be renaming it to the Dave Lawley Room, okay? And I believe we do have a picture, right, Matt? Of,
Yes.
in the corner with some of our Philadelphia Eagles
Oh my gosh.
players, and those of you who recall, did beat the Patriots.
Yes.
Well, you know, unfortunately, a couple years ago.
That's amazing. That's amazing. This would just send him right over the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing.
More Boobin, I guess, huh?
More movement. Exactly. That would be, he'd be completely melted by now. So.
Do you want to go out and see? Let's go see the new room. I'll unveil it for you, and we're gonna have some lunch. Lunch is here.
Thank you.